One of my favorite retro games appeared on two of my favorite retro consoles. I am the Game Collector, and this is Second Opinion Games, and today I put the Atari 2600 versus the ColecoVision. Which version's better of Jungle Hunt?
Second Opinion Games.
Jungle Hunt is an Activision classic, and when you begin the game on the Atari 2600, you get a very memorable chime. The ColecoVision also has the same tune play. In the Atari 2600 version, you begin by jumping from vine to vine with extremely primitive graphics, and even some very basic parallax scrolling. Now, timing here is rather important, so just wait, or just tap the button as fast as you can and hope that you land on the vines. It's pretty much what I used to do when I was a kid, but now I actually take my time and do this section right. On the ColecoVision, you could see that everything looks a lot prettier, only it doesn't have that odd parallax scrolling. Even if it was really primitive, I am gonna miss it. However, what the ColecoVision does have here is a little bit of a transition into the next level where your guy jumps from the vine and into the water. The Atari doesn't have that. In the next stage, you are in crocodile-infested waters. You can only hold your breath for so long, and this might be music in the background, but I just don't know. If you start to run out of air, then there's a warning sign before you eventually drown. In the Atari 2600 version, you have a knife, but killing crocodiles is really difficult. Make sure you don't stab them when they have their mouths opened. In the Coleco version, everything looks much better. You can clearly see their crocodiles this time around, and you could even make out the fact that you have a knife, and see that you're in your swim trunks, which is kind of important because where does he put his clothes? Did he just strip them off as he was going? Because in the next scene, you could actually see that he's wearing his clothes again. Also, the Coleco version has a transition to the next setup, and the Atari doesn't have it. Into the next level, we are dodging boulders. In the Atari 2600 version, well, you're running across a flat plane. Means someone probably had to throw these giant rocks at you. Also, you're going to notice here that collision detection is a bit wonky, and this is actually the hardest stage in the entire game. You have to watch out for both small and large rocks, and occasionally you will get crushed. It's pretty tough. On the Coleco version, you're actually running full speed up a hill, which now makes a lot more sense for these boulders to be bouncing and tumbling after you. And it's a lot easier because of this. You could even duck them much easier this time around. You could still duck on the Atari 2600 version, but things get really tough with that. So the Coleco version again outshines its predecessor in this level. In the last level of the game, you have to jump over to savages. Now, again, hit detection is not on your side for the 2600 version. A lot of times, you're going to think that you clearly made it over him, and eventually it'll show up that you died. But if you get your timing right, you could eventually save your somewhat beautiful girlfriend and immediately start to do a little break dance. In the ColecoVision, both of these savages are on the same screen, which also makes it a bit more difficult because you have to watch out for the fire that your beautiful girl is going to be lowered down into, which is a little challenging. However, the collision detection is much better, so jumping over the savages is easier, and if you just take your time, I'm sure you will end up saving this girl once you grab her in midair and just swing for a while. And it says, congratulations, so you know you did your job, even though the savages are still there and you're still stranded over a pot of boiling water. Now, after you beat the game, I bet you think it's over. No, of course it starts a new round. On the Atari 2600 version, the only thing it really does is speed up the game a lot. and make jumping even harder, and the game gets pretty impossible pretty quick, which doesn't really add to the fun fest. In the Coleco version, most of the levels do in fact just speed up a lot, sometimes colors change, but in the original Jungle Swing level, well, it has a whole nother layer to the problem. Now occasionally there is a giant monkey on the vines, and if you hit him, you will die. Also, if you stay holding on to the vine for too long, you will eventually fall off, meaning you really have to get your timing absolutely down to clear this stage. I do enjoy how they actually change things up rather than just making everything move faster. I think that was kind of the lazy way out. So which version's better? Well, honestly, I'm going to have to give it up to the ColecoVision because the improved graphics, the transitions between the stages, the boulders are no longer impossible to get past, and the fact that you could actually clearly make out your girl. And when you beat the game, you have some extra challenges rather than just lazily making everything going fast. Now, Jungle Hunt for the Atari 2600 is still a terrific game, and one that you pretty much have to own, and probably do own if you have an Atari. And I love this early version of parallax scrolling as well. So, you know what? Both of them are cheap and you should probably get them both. But if I had to choose one winner, I would say the ColecoVision. But that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I had a great time making it. Mostly I just made it because I wanted to play some Jungle Hunt, and I have a great time with that game. So hopefully you guys have some other games you want me to play, both retro and somewhat modern. So make sure you leave me a comment down below and tell me how much you love pretty much every version of Jungle Hunt. So until later, I will see you again, guys.